Excellent, and welcome to Truth in Telecoms. We've got a bit of a focus this week on Syniverse. Johnny, how are you?
Syniverse, king of the world. That's it. They just showed the world. I've been saying it for how long now, right? Mm-hmm. Syniverse, the king of the world. That's it. Golly, Syniverse is the king of the world. And I think people need to understand really how powerful of a company they are. Mm-hmm. And how strong they are. And the reason why I believe these things happen. And it goes back to a post that me and you were going back and forth on with Warren Buffett talking about private equity groups.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Which, you've got Scipio partners, I call them, who are just degenerates over there out of Germany that I've been dealing with for a long time. Yeah. And I think people, look, I fought Syniverse. I sued Syniverse. Yeah, I went through 3 CEOs at Syniverse. Knew them all, right? I dealt with a guy named John Wick. John Wick is the smartest, toughest, most powerful guy in the ecosystem. Why? Because if you throw a ball in the middle of the room, John's getting that ball. John's gone through all these CEOs. Yeah, he's the only constant at Syniverse, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Obviously, I was jumping all over it, and people are like, "Oh, you're against Syniverse," and I've got all these people looking. I'm not against Syniverse. What people need to understand is, now I'm going to go backwards. Carlyle paid $2.6 billion in 2010 for Syniverse. Right? Yeah. Then they doubled down with billions more.
Yeah,
billions more. Right?
In acquisitions.
This is 2010. Right? So their fund went up a long time ago.
Yeah.
And there's a gentleman named James Atwood, who is, who's also the chairman of Nielsen. They're powerful guys. Who was on Syniverse's board before? Former chair of the FCC, Julius Jankowski. Who's on their board right now? Former CEO of Verizon.
Yeah.
And three Twilioites that shouldn't be allowed on the board. So, my problem is somebody's got to free Syniverse. Why? Why are there problems? Why are there problems everywhere? Because they're not getting the money the company needs. See, great people working in Syniverse. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of them, and they've had great people recycled. They're getting rid of people. Meanwhile, Syniverse just showed the world they're critical infrastructure.
Yes.
Right? They're critical. They're critical to communications. They're critical to everything.
Oh, yeah. That roaming issue hit on Thursday, June 27th, which was the peak travel day for North America. 32 million people were traveling on that day to the likes of London, Paris, Cancun, Dominican Republic. And on that day, roaming wasn't working.
Yeah. And then you had a lot of other things coloring up in the news. But you had news stories with a lady from ABC saying it was solar flares. Solar flares. Did you see the story in ABC?
No, I didn't.
I posted it. You should go read my post instead of just comment on it. I posted the video from the lady from ABC that said it could be solar flares, all 3 carriers, at the same time.
That falls into batshit crazy, so no, I wouldn't be looking at that.
Batshit crazy on ABC News. People are watching it. But I think, look, Syniverse has a lot of good people that work there. Mm-hmm. And, we've been beating it up. Twilio has a lot of good people that work there too.
Oh, yeah.
We know Twilio makes money on spam. When I was involved with Syniverse on many occasions, it was about shutting Twilio off, right? Yeah. Oh, innovation. Well, now you got the flip side of innovation.
Yes.
Which your industry and your programmable comms and your hackathons, and they all benefited.
Yep.
But now you've got 20 billion spam messages a month. Whose fault is it? For me, for my money, it's the undercapitalization of critical infrastructure.
Yeah.
So Twilio paid $750 million to Syniverse a while back, two years ago. Right?
Yep.
Syniverse was supposed to go public because Carlyle's got to get their money for the people that gave them money. So what is a PE firm? It's a loan sharking outfit, right? So people give money to them. They give back a better return.
Yeah.
They're smarter than everybody else, whether it be VC, PE, whatever.
Yeah.
The original founders of Syniverse sold it for $2.6 billion. There was guys working in the back office that retired from that sale, right?
Yeah.
But look, it is what it is.
Yeah.
right? I mean, the article in Fierce. Well, they have multi-year contracts. Nothing's going to happen to them. You're damn right nothing's going to happen to them, right? Because the carriers are more worried about building out 5G, subscribers, commercials, looking pretty on TV, cutting down churn, killing dead spots, getting service better. So the ecosystem, we talk about the ecosystem in messaging being a sewer. It is a sewer. Why? Because the infrastructure hasn't been put in place. We had your friend Jerry Christensen a while back. Well, they got to spend $4 billion if they want, and spending $4 billion to stop these problems, to stop the robocalling. The FCC just comes out with this new thing. What are we going to do? What are you going to do with AI robocalls? What are you going to do? You're going to do nothing. That's what you're going to do. You're going to wait until you get your turn, and you're going to go get a job at the Carlyle Group. You're going to get a job somewhere else because you're going to cycle it because you're all elected, right? You're going to do nothing. So for my money, I think there has to be a voice for all these companies should be kicking in money to just let people know. Don't click on that text. No, don't answer that call. Forget labeling. Just don't do it, right? If you go to a bar and you have 10 whiskeys, right? Who's it? And you drive home and you crash. Whose fault is it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's your fault, right? You're going to sue the bar? Oh, he should have known. Why? Oh, he should have been looking at you instead of the other 200 people that he was giving drinks to or who was feeding you. And you can tell. And that's probably a bad analogy.
Yeah.
But look, Syniverse, like I posted, Syniverse, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't done intentionally, but they need to be acquired. They need to be acquired, and definitely not by Twilio. Because that culture, I mean, they had and you go look at the board, you got 3 Twilions there. You know, they're doing ESG in Tampa, Twilio.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Tampa. Which is, if anybody's been to Tampa, you understand what I mean. And it's just sad to me. It's sad that the mobile operators depend on that ecosystem. They depend on it. Right?
Correct.
They've lost out to Google. They've lost out to Apple. They've lost out Android. They've lost out all over the place. But they're still critically important.
Yes.
They control that SIM. They control all the connectivity. So, my call out, look, John Wick, I fought with this guy, gentleman. We shook hands at the end. It was gentlemanly like. If you're getting beat up, go fight. Go sue, right? I sued. I settled.
Yeah.
Why? Because I won. You know what I mean? So people, we're sitting here crying, and all these companies out there, they're crying about it's not fair. Well, then go sue. It's America. Our legal system works. Our country is the only place that I know of on the planet that our legal system works. You get in front of 12 jurors, pretty good chance that, you're right. You're walking out ahead. So I think it's a call out to the great people at Syniverse. The new CEO of Syniverse, a guy named Andrew Davies. This guy is a CFO, right? He's a CFO running. He's done an amazing job. He took $750 million from Twilio and paid back, the owners at Carlyle right away.
Exactly.
Straight past go, right? Who knows what's going on with Twilio and Syniverse and 3 boards? But you've got a cluster situation. So the most important company is not Twilio. It's Syniverse. Now, Twilio owns a large stake in Syniverse, which the carrier should be disturbed about because they're just Pinocchios all over the place. We're a SaaS company, we're this company. They make money on spam. They tell you they make money on spam. I know they created innovation, you and Robert Bird, and what's the guy's name? What was it? Robert Viz. What was his name?
Robert Viz,
I forgot his name already. I'm calling him Robert Bird. I don't know where he flew off to. They're all crying about, in the U.S., they didn't charge. They should charge. The operator should charge. They should monetize that network because you know what? AT&T is giving out refunds to people. Not Syniverse.
Oh, for the roaming problem. Yes.
They got to pay people back. Who gets sued? The carriers, which is another conversation. So look, I'm a fan of whoever is the greatest, who wins, who fights for it. Right? As a baseball coach my whole life, it's the team that fought for it.
Yeah.
If you got beat, you got beat, right?
Exactly.
Syniverse is beating everybody right now. And they just need to be sold. Somebody needs to acquire them because they're not going anywhere. They're not. I hear rumblings. Oh, the carriers are starting to give large companies directs, and they're going to get rid of P2P. Yeah, when? And then you got Apple and Google, and nobody's talking about how that fits in with Syniverse. Everybody's talking. Meanwhile, Syniverse is the constant, and they're right there.
Yeah.
So
across messaging and voice.
Great people work at Syniverse. They care, right? Great leadership. But they got a PE group whose only job is to pay that note. So pay that note, pay the debt. Yeah. You know, how does a leveraged buyout group work? They leverage it out with debt.
Yep.
Carlyle goes and layers a bunch of debt on Syniverse. They were wrong. They were wrong on the exit. Although I think, if anything, this made Syniverse worth exponentially more. Right? I think so. I think they just proved. How do all three operators have a problem at one time?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And look, hacks happen everywhere. The crooks are one step ahead always. Right?
Yeah. You could argue in terms of the technology that they're using, and that, basically one rogue partner can cause such a signaling storm. It would think, a basic design flaw there. But
even if the operators paid Syniverse more money, the money goes back to the PE group.
Correct.
Not back into new products. There's no innovation. Right?
The innovation gap, yeah.
There's no innovation
gap, yeah.
Right? It's all done. I remember, when just to go back in history. So after I settled with Syniverse, and basically I had Nicola and Thorsten over at Tintech.
Yeah.
And I basically settled it for new agreements.
Yes.
Now, they had not raised money yet for those new agreements. We had gone to some bankers. One was a guy named Neville Chamberlain, who was the nephew of the famous Neville Chamberlain. And we'll get into that story on the Tintech story. But they had Nicola and Thorsten, and we had Eddie DeCurtis, and I settled. They had still not raised money. They were supposed to come up with a mobile operator, right? Yeah. They never came up with a mobile operator, right? Then they raised money on my agreements. Yeah. So Thorsten was able to raise money through Scipio Partners, who also raised money on my agreements. Why? Because those peering agreements were priceless. Yes. How do we know? Senator Quiltulio just paid $750 million for a minority stake in that access. Yeah. Because when we were running the process for Tintech, Quiltulio came to the table like, okay, let's look at Tintech. What do you have? Well, we got one peering agreement to cinch. Oh, yeah, that's not going to cut it, right? And we got all these connections around the world. Yeah, so does everybody else, right? So Syniverse is the golden goose. Syniverse is the center of the universe. They're critical infrastructure.
Yeah.
And they deserve to be sold for a large money. Carlyle deserves to get their money out of this thing.
Yeah.
And innovation needs to be spent in these verticals that the mobile operators don't have time for messaging. They don't have time for this, right? I mean, Syniverse is out there in the middle of it, settling between all other operators. It's just an important asset.
Yeah.
So, look, guys at Syniverse, I have nothing against you guys personally. A couple of your CEOs I didn't like too much, but you know what? I beat you. And then Tintech thought they literally duplicated my lawsuit, except left out the part where they didn't buy my company. Mm-hmm. They bought new agreements.
Yes.
And originally Syniverse was like, no, we're not going to renew it. We're not going to renew it. And then looking back in time, all of a sudden they said, okay, we'll renew it with you, Tintech, because one of their lawyers got smart and said, well, they broke the continuity.
Yes.
But Thorsten and Nicola didn't care because they were both fired from their company. And they were able to structure a deal with Scipio, another private equity group, although a little potato chip private equity group that usually doesn't put more than a couple of $1 million in.
Yeah.
Right. They were able to take a bigger stake of the company. They were able to control it. So they're still running the company today.
Yes.
Which will lead me to my war which with them it's going to happen. And that's going to be, for all you out there who are listening, it's going to be crazy because there aren't two bigger lunatics than them. And the people at Scipio Partners are the biggest degenerates on the face of the earth. There's nothing. When you hear what these guys do, they got your friend Alec Dirk. They threw him out of wire. Bang, tossed. Right?
Yeah.
They're treacherous. And you've read the stuff with me, the attorneys, trying to get me put in jail in Germany for a LinkedIn post. For a LinkedIn post, ladies and gentlemen. And Alan Quayle here. But Look, I think this is a call out. Syniverse, I don't know what to tell you, but if you guys are, if there's other groups out there, innovation, somebody should buy this asset.
Mm-hmm.
Great people. They're not going anywhere. They're not getting ripped out. Not happening.
Yeah.
They're too politically connected. There's national security here. And they're U.S. owned.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
They connect with China. They connect with Tata. They connect with all the parts of the world.
Yep.
Right. This is a very important asset.
Yeah.
At the end. So if the government's ever going to step in and take something over, it should be Syniverse.
Interesting.
They're too important. The company is too important. And John Wick is, for my money, he's ex-Air Force too, just like Bill. This guy's unbelievable. He's like the real John Wick. He just keeps coming. The guy's just, and he'll get through this. They
but that's interesting
Syniverse.
though with the government though, because there needs to be a campaign to help. I mean, I know there's always a lot of negativity or educating customers in terms of behavior, but spam SMS is only going to get worse with RCS. Robocalling is getting more and more targeted and much more effective in terms of the savings that people are losing through these scams. Something needs to be done. Yes, we can hope for technology, but part of it has to
identity theft.
Yeah.
Think about, you have 32 million Americans with your daughter, your kids, or whoever, maybe your wife in another country traveling. You can't reach them. Yeah, they Jimmy rig around it. But if you're just an average older person or a younger person, you don't know. It's critical infrastructure.
Correct.
Syniverse is the most connected company in the world. Full stop.
Yes, absolutely.
They're critical infrastructure.
Yep.
Full stop.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Look, I was happy when they took Twilio's money. I think I sent them a message. Good for you. You know what I mean? We'll get into that. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. No,
critical infrastructure. It's important. People wake up. Will they? Who knows? But I spoke my piece.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there needs to be investment in the problems that we're facing today. They are far more critical in terms of infrastructure, as was demonstrated last week, than the campaign registry. So it doesn't matter.
Campaign registry doesn't work. I remember talking to John Wick about that too. He's like, look, this thing doesn't even work.
I know.
So I used to have conversations with him up until recently. I don't think he's too happy with me right now. John, is what it is. Too bad. Get over it. You're still the man. You still kicked everybody's ass. King of the world, John Wick.
And we have the title for this podcast, The Real John Wick.
He comes out with everybody's hair. That's it. He's coming out with it. He's the only constant. He's quiet. You don't hear too much about him.
Yeah.
Anybody that works with him likes him. Anybody that works for him likes him.
Yeah.
Cool. And I've gotten to know him years ago on a personal level.
Yep.
He's a good guy. He's just a good, fair guy that's worked in his company for decades. I mean, and there's other good people that work there as well, too. I think this Harry Patz guy, people seem to love him. So they changed their culture a little bit. They had a really toxic culture under their original CEO, Jeff Gordon. Yeah. When they got all that money, he was a horror show, this guy. I mean, he was just, he was a maniacal
That's an interesting
maniac.
one, though. I think that free Syniverse, and so action can finally be taken against spam, SMS spam, and robocalling.
There has to be money invested.
Exactly.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I know we had Noah on with his product, and this one's got a product, and we're going to call label this. How about putting the resources into this, into robocalling? Spend the $4 billion or whatever we need there.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend $10 billion all over the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not? So, look, I don't know if any of this is going to happen, but that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, interesting angle, definitely.
July 4th, John Wick, I have all the respect in the world for you. Thank you for serving my country. I can't thank you for kicking my ass with Dintech again, but they get too stupid for words and too treacherous for words.
But we'll deal that out with another time. I think this is focused on
the level of stupidity and treachery is there something I've never seen. You guys will never see it. So I think, look, it is what it is.
Yep. But it's interesting. I think they've demonstrated that they are the critical infrastructure for North American
the king
telecoms.
of the world, the most connected company in the world. Full stop.
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Everything stops. We live in a different world. Everything's connected.
Yep.
Everything.
Oh yeah, which was demonstrated last week.
How do you put a value on this asset? You can't look at the numbers. You can't look at the 600 or 700 million that they make in a year. I forgot. I haven't looked at their numbers in a while with good margins because they're just paying the debt.
Yeah,
they're just paying the debt.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I heard a while back they were getting put up for sale again, but unless you understand the power of what it has, it can't fall into the wrong hands. You can't have foreign ownership on Syniverse.
Nope.
That can't happen. I mean, we've already got the campaign registry. We know what's going on over there.
Yeah.
You know, China's humping the network. Tata doesn't even know where they are. They frame an Air Force major.
Yes.
You know,
yeah,
but this is Syniverse. This is no joke.
Yeah.
So seriousness.
Yeah.
Syniverse. I hope all you guys, and none of them got any equity.
Yeah.
So Carlyle gets all the money.
Exactly.
So really, where's the incentive for innovation for the people at Syniverse? At least the guys at Twilio had an incentive to try hard.
Yeah.
Even though they're just milking the investors' money right now. If you've been in, I can't even talk about Twilio because they're just toast.
Yeah.
They're just complete toast.
Yeah. Fortunately.
That's my 2 cents before July 4th.
And I wish you a happy July 4th, Johnny.
Yeah. You're going to get a haircut over the 4th?
No.
No, you're not going to get a little trim?
No. It's white man's fro for a while. You take
white man's fro. And guys out there, come to TAD Summit. It'll be like something else you've never seen before.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of companies are hurting. Yes, I still love MEF. I talked to the guys from CPAS-AA. The guys from CAA aren't happy with me because of a couple of my comments on them. And it is what it is. I don't care. But Alan Quayle is the only guy who tells the truth out there in the industry. And don't take it out on him if you don't like what I say.
And with that,
because he can kick me off tomorrow.
What's that?
I said, you can kick me off tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you'll see a lot more sponsors coming in.
You take care, Johnny.
Bye-bye.